This session, we're going to look at working with client-supplied graphics or logos. We've looked at some of the high-end separations, the photographs, and the different types of graphics that we can separate on the high end. But another powerful thing we can do with SimpleSeps Raster is we can color separate client-supplied bitmaps, such as this Pizza Hut logo, very easily. And the fact is that we can save a lot of time as compared to working with vector. Now, after you get used to working with SimpleSeps Raster, you'll be able to identify when you can't use this. I mean, if this was a really bad JPEG that was all pixelated at low resolution, it really isn't something you would be able to use in SimpleSeps Raster. You really have to have some good resolution to work with this, and images that haven't been destroyed through JPEG compression. But this image that we got from the client is actually sufficient. It's got some decent resolution to it. We can clean it up a little bit in Photo Paint, and then just run it right through SimpleSeps Raster. You can see that we've got some pixelation here, but we'll deal with that very effectively in Corel Photo Paint. One of the things you want to be looking at when you're dealing with customer supplied bitmap art is what type of colors you're working with in your pixels. Let's take a look at some things here. I'll come over here to the eyedropper tool, and I'll just bring this over and I'll take a look at this black, and I can see that this is not a pure black. That means that if I try to print this out, I'm going to get halftones in this black. And that's not what I want. What I want is a pure RGB 000, so that when I do my color separations, I'm going to get a gray 0. So I'm going to get a solid black to print out my separations. If I look at this green, it's not really a pure RGB green. I'll go ahead and convert that in Photo Paint, and also this yellow. Up here on top, we can see we're actually going to have a blending of yellow into red to create this orangish looking color over here. Then coming back over into this darkish red, and then we've got some white highlight in here. To dress this up or clean it up in Photo Paint, all I'll do is select it, and then I'll come up and click on Edit Bitmap, and that'll open my graphic in Corel Photo Paint. Once my graphic is open in Photo Paint, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Image, and then I'm going to go to Resample. I'll take this up to 600 dpi, and I will have anti-aliasing enabled. Now, once my graphic is up to 600 dpi, the next thing I want to do is deal with this anti-aliasing that you see here. Now, actually, this is pretty smooth, and it wouldn't look that bad on vector, but you're going to get halftone dots where you've got this pixelation here. To deal with that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this white that I've got, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with a different color to give me some more contrast against which to do some things. So I'm going to come over here to my fill bucket. I'm going to double click here, and I'll go here to Edit. Then I'm just going to grab a blue. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to have my tolerance set at 59. Now, if my tolerance is down too low, I'll set this down to 10, and I click. You'll see what happens here. I won't really come in and fill in these pixels here. I'll have a lot of this white left here. I'll hit Control Z and go up, and I'll change my tolerance to, let's say, 60, 68. We'll click on that, and you'll see that we go much further in to our color here, and we eliminate all of those pixels that had other colors in them. But yet we still maintain the contrast here, the same thing here. Now, this is going to make it very easy for me to get rid of this pixelation. And I'll need to do the same thing over here on this white and fill that also. Now that this blue is all set up in here, and I've got some white down here that I want to deal with also. We'll just click and fill, click and fill. What I want to do is make the Pizza Hut text absolutely pure RGB black. Simply come over here to my fill color, double click on that, I'll go to Edit, go ahead and select a black, and then I'll select OK and OK. Tolerance is still set pretty high. And I just come through here and click on my black, and you can see that that instantly becomes a 100% black. So I'm going to get a much better color separation coming through SimpleSeps Raster with that. Now, next thing I want to do with my yellow here, because this is solid, I've got an opportunity to transform that into the proper RGB yellow. Come over here and click on my fill, go to Edit, come over here to the yellow, which is 255, 255, 0, select OK, select OK, come down here and fill. Now you can see what I'm doing is I'm knocking out all of the anti-aliasing. And even if this looks a little bit jaggy, believe me, going out for a left chest, this is going to look as clean as vector. Now, you'll get an eye for this as you work with it as to which images you can work with and which images have enough pixels or resolution to work with. Now I want to go ahead and take care of this green. I'll double click here, I'll go to edit, come over here to the pure green, which is 255, select OK, and I just want to give SimpleSeps Raster very clean graphics to work with. Now you can see here, now that I click that my tolerance was too high. We got a whole bunch of stuff here, so I'm going to hit Control Z and bring my tolerance down so that this fill bucket will be constrained within this green area here. Now I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, well, let's see, how do we look here? And that looks just fine. You can see that it's all butted up. Now, I know that this looks jaggy, but once again, it's going to print out just fine. Almost, not actually almost, but just as good as vector. Now my image is prepped to go ahead and do my separations. I can see everything's nice solid edges here. I'm going to go ahead and select Save, but I think what I'll first do is I'll knock out the blue background. I really don't need that anymore. So I'll go ahead and come here to the magic wand tool, and I'll just click right here, and that'll be masked over. Then I'll come in here, and I'm going to go to subtractive mode here, and I'll click right here. Actually, I want to go to additive mode and click right there. There we go. We remove that, and then I'll come down here into my registration mark, and I'll just click here, and I'll click here. Now what I'm going to do is take this background, I'm going to click here, that I'll change that to an object because I can't delete. If I delete now, and when you delete, you want to make sure that you've got a masking tool selected, because if you don't, you're just going to delete your object. You see, I can't delete anything here. Now if I go to my magic wand tool and have any masking tool selected and hit the delete key, it'll get rid of it, but all I got was a white background. That's not what I want. I want to hit Control Z, we'll come up here and turn this background to an object. Now you'll notice that if I have my pick tool selected and I delete, I'm going to delete the whole object. I have to have a masking tool selected here. I'll click on the magic wand and then I'll hit delete, and that removes all the color in my background. Then I'll go to mask, remove, and now my graphics is prepped for SimpleSeps Raster. Go ahead and click on save. Then I'm just going to go ahead and close Photo Paint, and we'll go ahead right from here and we'll just select our graphic. We'll go to Advanced Tools, SimpleSeps Raster, and we'll extract our HSB. HSB extract here. Let that process in Corel Draw. Once I've extracted my HSB, I'll go ahead and close this, and I'll take a look at what we've got here. Now you'll notice if I go to my Object Manager and I come here and click on my brightness, which is actually my black, you can see that that just disappears. And then I've also got my saturation here, which is bringing in my lightness from my whiteness. And then beneath that I've got my hues. Go ahead and turn both of these off, and we can see how clean our hues are here. So now that we've got our HSB extraction set up and we're satisfied with the review, go ahead and turn these back on here. And then we'll go ahead and go to Advanced Tools, SimpleSeps Raster, and we'll go ahead and generate our color separations. Right here, and then we'll click on Generate Separations. Now you can see what we've done is we've really set up this bitmap, even though it's simple spot colors, to work appropriately with the colors that will be generated by SimpleSeps Raster by using pure RGB colors. And we can trick sometimes the system. Let's say that I've got an orange in there where that yellow is. Well, I could go in and turn that orange into a yellow with the same method that we were just working with, and then trick it and then change my yellow for that particular object to an orange. Now, I wouldn't recommend that with this particular graphic because you're going to need some of that yellow set up in the shading for the top of the logo, because we saw that orange that was over there, and that'll be created by a combination of yellow and red blended together through the SimpleSeps Raster color separations. And we'll also see that working with this way, that once we get this down, we'll be able to do this very quickly. If I wasn't working my way through the video, I could have all of this done in maybe 3 to 5 minutes. We also realized that tracing that to vector, we'd have to deal with a lot of shading in different colors in the vector objects, etc. But here we'll let SimpleSeps Raster do our color conversion for us, and we'll have the shading that goes from the yellow into the red, creating that orange look through halftones in the top of the logo that we saw over on the right hand side. Once my color separation is finished processing with SimpleSeps Raster, all I need to do is go ahead and close the plugin, and I'll see my color separations here on screen. I can see that I've got a white highlight that you can see there. I also have a underbase that you can see there. We have our yellow, and I can turn that off, and you can see the white base underneath that, and we also have our black. So here I've gone through a customer supplied logo file and color separated it with a white base and highlight literally in a matter of minutes. At this point, all I need to do is just go ahead and turn off all the colors I don't need. I won't need the magenta. I can see that that's not changing my graphic. Won't need the blue. Won't need the cyan. And I'm not going to need the green. Or yes, actually I will need the green right there. What I can do at this point is just go ahead and select everything. I'll hit Control C. I'll go ahead and move to a new document because, as I said before, the Object Manager in CorelDRAW is rather buggy and it presents its unique issues. So we want to go ahead and go to a new page at this time. Go ahead and select OK. Go ahead and paste. Hit that again. There we go. Bring this over to the center of my page. And we can see I've got all of my objects set up here in the Object Manager. Now, set up with just one layer with a few objects, the Object Manager works much better. Now, looking at this, I've got this curve here, but I think the first thing I'm going to want to do is just go ahead and crop this all out. So I'll go ahead and just select everything, and we'll go ahead and group all that. Get our crop tool here. We'll zoom in, and we'll just come in and go ahead and crop this. Bring this out to here, and then go ahead and double click. Now, since this is set up as monochrome bitmaps, I can set up my color separations for halftones directly in CorelDRAW using my other SimpleSeps plugin. We have two SimpleSeps. We have SimpleSeps and SimpleSeps Raster. SimpleSeps manages spot colors and generates halftones. SimpleSeps Raster manages raster or bitmap based color separations directly in CorelDRAW. If I want to set up my color separations for this, actually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and we'll just ungroup all of this, and I'm just going to go here and I'm going to delete this curve. Let's say we're not going to print on a dark garment. We won't need the white underbase. I probably won't need the white highlight, but I'll go ahead and bring that in anyway. And what I'll do is go ahead and just take my graphic here, which is going to be set up to a left chest size. I can go ahead and resample this down to about 4 inches by 4 inches, more or less. Go to my advanced tools, go to SimpleSeps, go to color management. First we're going to convert all these RGBs to spot color. So I'll just click on create selection palette. So you got black, green, red, white, yellow. I'll just click on select all. There's an entire training series on advancedtshirts.com for SimpleSeps. Excellent program for managing your color separations relating to objects that support spot colors in CorelDRAW, which monochromes do, which is why we have SimpleSeps Raster converting everything to monochrome, because then you can mix all that with your vector and other spot colors and use that as design assets, as I said in some of the other sessions here. And then you can go ahead and separate it all out together. I could actually put vector in here and all kinds of things. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is just go to my separations options. If I wanted to convert this to halftones, I could, but for the sake of the video, I won't. We got plenty of training on halftone conversions on the advancedtshirts.com website. But I will go ahead and separate this. But the first thing I want to do is just come over here with everything selected and click on one-click conversion. Now everything's been converted to Pantone colors. Now Pantone colors and monochrome don't really look very vibrant here in CorelDRAW, but they work just fine. Options for my separations, come in here, click Generate Separation, select OK. And here I instantly have my color separations set up with my registration marks directly in CorelDRAW. Now I have this plates palette, and that'll typically be over here to the left. All you do is left click, hold down, drag it out into your workspace, and you can see that your color separations will correspond with your plates palette. Go ahead and close this, and we can see that here we've got our Pantone 1788C, or our red. Our next plate will be our Pantone 3945, or our blue. The next plate is going to be 802, or our green. So you want to be aware of this plates palette because it corresponds with your Pantone colors, and it'll let you know what colors you're dealing with in your different color separations. And we can see our green is just that little spot there. Here we have what is our Pantone Trans White, which we may or may not want to use that depending on how we're setting up. And we'll come here, and here we have our Pantone Hexachrome Black. We can see we have some shading that's going to be added to our red to create the colors or the look of the colors that are in the design. The fading of the red and the shading that's in the red. And here's our red. You can see there's some black around the outside here, and that's all brought out in the black plate. So we can see, working with SimpleSeps Raster, not only can we color separate the highest of the high end very quickly and easily, but we can also use it to color separate client supplied bitmaps or raster art, be it school designs or things like that coming from the school. So really we've got a tool here that's going to pay for itself very quickly, just in the amount of time and money we're going to save by not having to convert everything to vector. Not to mention all the benefits of being able to design at the highest of the high end and work with design assets that we never imagined that we could work with directly in CorelDRAW. We'll go ahead and wrap here, and we'll continue in our next session.